Radio Stoke. It's Stuart George with you for a Thursday morning. It's freezing cold. You don't need me to tell you that. It's the first thing I noticed on my way into work this morning. The second, I thought as I walked through Hanley, I got a whiff of what may or may not be. I mean, we were a couple of miles away from Walleys Quarry, but it may be. It kind of smelt familiar. Walleys Quarry. That slightly unpleasant whiff if you're a couple of miles away. That horrible stench if you're a bit closer to it. If you're not familiar with it, it's a smell that is produced by the landfill in Silverdale. It's been around for years, the smell. It's plagued residents in that part of Newcastle. So much so, they set up a group called Stop the Stink to campaign against it.
Stop the stink! Stop the stink! Stop the stink!
Well, Dr. Mick Salt is from that campaign group and joins us on BBC Radio Stoke this morning. Is it any worse in winter? I remember years ago driving down Keel Bank and you'd get a whiff of it there at this time of year. How is it at the moment?
Well, I'm not smelling it here. I'm just about a mile away. But anecdotally, I have seen an uptick in the number of complaints on social media. No, not sure whether they're translating to complaints to the Environment Agency yet, but there certainly does seem to be more complaints.
So it still smells. There has been some capping. They have been covering over parts of the site. Is that working in your view?
Yes, it is working, but to a degree. Looking at all the data sets coming out of the Environment Agency, we are seeing a sustained decrease, but they haven't published the November data yet, so we won't know the latest until we see that.
And does it get worse when it gets cold?
Yes, it does. Due to two effects, this is. One is that sunlight naturally destroys hydrogen sulfide. In fact, in winter, it takes about approximately 42 times as long for it to be destroyed. And the second thing is something called a temperature inversion. Basically, because the landfill's warm from the bacterial action within it, it sort of gets, the vapours get trapped below the cold air above it and spread outwards rather than up and around. So you get higher concentrations where people are living.
A bit like bonfire night, where it looks really foggy and smoggy everywhere because it's warmer. It stays down. I
drove through that smoke, that fog.
and so, as far as you know, what's being done at the moment to try and do away with the smell?
Well, there's the capping, as you've mentioned. There's the installation of more pinwells, more wells. There's also improvements to the leachate management, because the sulfate-reducing bacteria, which produce the hydrogen sulfide, they like nothing more than nice damp conditions. So the operator have been compelled to prevent rainwater getting into the site and also to manage water that's percolated into it as well.
So when it gets wet, bacteria like that environment so breed, and it's them breaking stuff down that releases the chemical. Is that what's going on?
That's it. Also coupled with sort of the inappropriate wastes in the landfill. It's sort of plasterboard. You don't think it's nasty stuff, but if you put that in a landfill site with lots of biodegradable material, you get a higher production of hydrogen sulfide.
And so what is it like for people living in and around Silverdale day to day at the moment?
It's sort of the anticipation of a bad day that's living with them constantly, particularly as we go into winter, that they wake up and they're not sure whether they're going to get a bad day or a clear day, and it depends which way the wind is blowing as well. For instance, recently Gallingale have got a bit of a break, but the wind's been going towards Silverdale and that direction.
Okay. Where do you want this to head? What's your ultimate aim now then at Stop the Stink?
Well, whilst odours are decreasing, because of the magnitude of this problem, it's not just about odour. I did a recent calculation about when we would expect the health guidelines to be met, because they are currently being breached, and these are the ones by UKHSA. And as things stand at the average that we had in October, we'd be looking at April 2029 before we're below those health guidelines. But if we were to sort of magically fix the problem tomorrow with zero emissions, that would bring that forward to January 2027. So the pressure's really on the Environment Agency to then put the pressure on Walleys Quarry Limited, formerly Red Industries RM Limited, to to reduce it as much as they can, because they're already above those health guidelines, and they need to bring that down now, and sooner rather than later.
Okay, thanks very much for the update. Dr. Mick Salt with us from Stop the Stink. We have asked the owners of Walleys Quarry for comment. We're yet to hear back, but as and when we do, of course, we will let you know. And if you do live in the area affected by Walleys Quarry, do let me know. How's it been of late? Was it that I sniffed this morning? Was it something? Was it a drain that I was going past? I don't know. 0800 121 8080 is the number to call.